Hello everybody, it's Ben with the DIY Homefront, and I must be working overtime because it is dark outside. But we've had the April showers and now we're on to the May flowers, but we've also got yellowflies or deerflies. Down south they can be a true nuisance, and I got something a couple years ago that really helps cut them down. There's these little blue balls that you fill up with air and you put a special chemical on them that attracts them, and it's like fly paper. But I've had these stored since last year. It's time for me to clean them up. And the only way I know to clean them up is with mineral spirits. So let's start cleaning. Well, these aren't the most attractive looking things in your yard. So I put them up when the season's over with. So this ball is deflated. And the first thing I got to do before I can clean it, obviously, is to fill it up. But they're awful sticky, that stuff you put on them. So I end up putting a sock on my hand so that way I don't have to get sticky stuff all over. Well, it's going to take a minute or two for this battery-operated air compressor to get the job done. Well, here's the mineral spirits that I'm using, and I got this from one of the box stores. But before I could go too far, I heard a little bit of a hissing sound coming from this ball, so I believe it has a hole in it. So I'm going to go get some soapy water and we'll see if we can't find a leak or if there is a leak. If I was going to give a negative review about using these to catch yellowflies, is that these balls just aren't very durable. You might get 2 or 3 years out of them before they just start leaking and you have to throw them away. So this one does have a hole in it, so let's go get the next ball. The downside to the sticky stuff you put on these balls is that they also collect the dust when you mow the yard and leaves and other bugs, and after a while they just look horrible. So this one I put up and I didn't bother cleaning before I put up, and you can see how yucky it is, and you can see how dumping some mineral spirits on a rag and wiping them gets everything off of them. Eventually the whole ball will end up being that nice colored blue and there won't be any marks left on it. And just like that, I'm done with this one. But look how dirty my socks have gotten from all the stuff that was on this ball. Now I will set this one off to the side and I will clean all the balls that I have the same way using mineral spirits and lots of rags. I have found with some of these balls, I put the sticky stuff on too thick and it almost gets encrusted on the surface. And in that case, I have to put a rag over the ball and coat that rag with mineral spirits and let it sit for a few minutes before I can get the stuff off of it. And this ball is definitely that way. You can see how it's almost got like crusty chunks of stuff all over it. Well, it's a few minutes later and I'm off to cleaning the last ball I have. Now I'll go ahead and order a couple more of these because if you've got a large yard like I do, you're going to want to put these in a couple of spots. We've got one by the carport where I do a lot of work. We've got one where we sit and look at the garden. We've got another one near the garden, and we've got a third one near our fire pit. Every place we end up spending time in our yard, I put one of these balls. And that means I've got 4 of these balls that I have to clean. And you're going to have to clean them periodically through the season. Because you'll find, like I said, they collect a lot of yellowflies and they collect a lot of dirt and debris. I probably have to clean these maybe 2 or 3 times a year during the yellowfly season. Which is not an enjoyable task or job that you want to do. But I guess it's better than being bit by yellowflies. Once I have all these balls cleaned up with the mineral spirits, I'll go back with that spray bottle of soapy water and I'll wipe them down and clean them off one more time with that soapy water. And I do that trying to make sure I get all the mineral spirit residue off of these. I don't want that to discourage the yellowflies from being attracted to this trap. And here's the stuff you put on these balls. It's called Tangle Trap Sticky Coating, and it comes in a spray can and also in a tub, like a tub of butter. And the tub of butter is a lot more difficult to use because you have to smear it on these blue balls, and it's just messier. Now the can, you just treat it like spray paint. You shake it up really good and then you put a decent coating on the ball. You don't need to put too much on here because you can always go back and put more on it. You can even put more on this a couple of days later if you want to. But I just put a decent coating on all of them, and then you just hang them around the yard wherever you want them. In the carport, I've got a hook between two of the posts, and I just hang one of the balls between those two posts. And it blows around in the breeze. And the goal is for when I'm in the carport doing stuff, that they see this ball blowing in the breeze and get stuck on it instead of biting me. Now the company that makes these insect traps also has a black version of the same thing. So if you don't like the blue ones, you could always buy a black one and have the black ones hanging around your yard trying to catch the insects and yellow flies. I've just heard that blue is a more effective color to draw them in, and I would rather get the yellow flies caught. But if you choose to buy these, you could always choose whichever color works best for you. Well, once I've got these traps sprayed with the sticky stuff, I'll go put them in the yard where they hang. If you're wondering what I use to hang them, I just take some old electrical wire and I use that to wrap around the balls. And then we've got some metal plant hangers that would go in a garden, and I just hang them off of those metal plant hangers. Alright, so that job is done. We've got the balls clean. We've got that gooey sticky stuff sprayed on them. Now we just have to come back in a couple days and see if it worked. Alright, here's our ball that's supposed to attract all those deer flies, or yellow flies I call them. And you can see we've got them all over the place. And if you know anything about deer flies, it only takes one to ruin your day. We'll have to check out the other ones and see how they're doing. We've got one right where we sit and overlook the garden when we're taking breaks and drinking a glass of water. So let's see what it looks like. It's been my experience that the yellow flies seem to find you wherever you're at. So the one by the carport where I spend most of my time, that's where I always seem to have the most yellow flies. This one doesn't have nearly as many yellow flies on it. And even our deflated ball has deer flies on it. Well, there you go. I'm not necessarily about product recommendations or getting paid to do advertisements. I'm just trying to share some secrets. If you've got yellow flies, these things do help tame them some. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in that next video.